to get from preliminary chanting to continuous chanting, where you're chanting all the time, even when you're eating or sleeping or everything. There's just the Maha Mantra going on all the time. So to get from the stage where you're chanting from time to time and it's interrupted to the stage where you're chanting all the time, then you'd have to increase the amount of chanting you're doing outside of your 16 rounds. It's not that I've done my 16 rounds now, and now I'm okay. That's the bare minimum. Not a mantra more. 16. I'm going to be offensive. I said 16. If I do more than that, then I'm breaking my vow. I said 16. So we're trying to gently break it to people that it's supposed to be all the time. Kirtaniya Siddhahari. It's got to be all the time. And if you're too lazy or there's no taste and you just can't be bothered doing it, then you're not going to go from preliminary to continuous. So how to increase our rounds so that we're chanting all the time, and then we can remember that Krishna is the target. Because chanting is forcing you to remember that Krishna is the target, the ultimate goal. And initially when you're chanting for your pleasure, and you're the one that's chanting. You're chanting the mantra, and you're chanting the mantra for your pleasure. And then after some time, it's a bit like Krishna dancing on the huts of Kaliya. First of all, Kaliya is fighting with Krishna. He's spitting poison at him. But after a certain period of time, he becomes subdued. And then it's not that we're actually chanting the mantra. It's actually that the mantra is dancing on our tongue, and we're just trying to facilitate it. It's for Krishna's pleasure. So first of all, Kaliya was thinking, I'm going to kill him. It's for my pleasure. I'm in control here. I've clasped him in my coils. I've got him. I've got him. I'm going to control him, So we can be chanting like that. And then Krishna jumps up, and then he starts subduing us and kicking all the nonsense out of us, all the poison. And then when there's no more poison left, Kaliya starts spitting blood. And then he realizes, okay, this is getting serious. I think I'm just going to surrender. And then he's able to submit himself to Krishna. So that's the process of Krishna consciousness, that we're not chanting. Actually, the mantra is chanting us. We're not chanting the mantra. But because of the false ego, we think, now I'm going to say Hare, Hare. Now I'm going to say Krishna, Krishna. And now I'm going to think of Krishna. And now I'm going to remember Krishna. But if that was the case, then when you sat down, you'd be able to just be thinking of Krishna all the time. And that's not so easy, is it? Mind's like a bar of soap. It's all over. Every time you try and hold it, like a bar of soap in the bath. I'm going to get him. I'm going to get Krishna now. Krishna. Oh, what about my socks? I need to sew that hole in my socks. So, no, Krishna. No, there wasn't a lot of prashadam yesterday. I thought there's going to be more prashadam today. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Look at the state of him over there. He's really spacing out in this job of Krishna. And then you can get preoccupied. Then it starts becoming everybody else realization, not self-realization. I'm going to figure everybody else out. Yeah, I tell you what's wrong with him. What's wrong with him is he judges people too much, and he's always analyzing them. That's what's wrong with him. So all you're seeing is your own fault. Atmane durate jagat. You see everybody according to your own false ego. So guaranteed, you can try this as an experiment, guaranteed, if something really winds you up, if you really cannot stand it, it's because you do it. But you just don't want to see it because of the false ego. Oh, it's disgraceful. The way he doesn't, you can see he's not bothered. He's not really applying himself, You never catch me doing that. I mean, look at him, he's falling asleep all the time. You never catch me doing that. Look, he's at it again. So if something really annoys you, really winds you up, if you can spot it, it means you've got it. Like you could have two people in a room meeting, and one of them is really getting annoyed at somebody that's eating a lot, and another one's not bothered at all. So the one that's really upset, like sometimes we we used to do this thing where we fasted for Ekadashi, and some devotees wouldn't fast. And if you were fasting, you'd be looking at the one that was fasting, was eating, and think, well, his senses are so uncontrolled. So then the ultimate goal, we become diverted from the ultimate goal again. There it's Krishna, that we're trying to please. Krishna's the enjoyer, Krishna's the controller. And if I'm getting upset about something, I'm getting really disturbed about something, then I need to look at myself, what's going on, myself, Why am I like that? Because that anatta is there. It's like when you have core needs, sometimes people really react to things because they're sensitive to things, because they've had some problem, some difficulty, or they're struggling with some unwanted thing themselves. So the better thing is you concentrate on changing yourself rather than trying to change all the people in the world around you that annoy you, so that then you'll be okay. Because you'll never be okay anyway, because even when they start doing all the things that you want to do, they'll start doing other things that you don't want them to do. Or you'll become annoyed that, oh, they're all such good devotees, and it's making me feel like a terrible devotee. Because I can't find any faults in them. So we shouldn't become distracted by that. And it is unfortunately one of the obstacles we have to overcome to get to the stage of being a Majjhima Adhikari, is to be able to appreciate devotees, how rare they are. That's why going out on Bhakti distribution is good, because it helps you to appreciate how rare devotees are, how special they are. You can be standing. Yesterday I was standing there. I didn't have a proper conversation or connection with anyone really all day. They're just all so distracted and so disinterested in spiritual things. And then when you come back to the devotees, they're all there. They all accept Krishna as God. They all believe. They all are not just believe, they're also aware that they're not the body to some degree, and the goal of life is to go back to Krishna. So Majjhima Adhikari is very happy in the association of devotees. He appreciates them very much. And he looks beyond their faults and sees that, well, at least they're trying, which is very, very rare. And the way they're trying is a little unusual, but they are, in their own way, trying to reach the ultimate goal. They've accepted that the ultimate goal is Krishna. Any questions or comments? Jayanand, have you got a question? It's just being formulated. Yeah. How do we counteract the tendency to want to judge other people? Well, we should be so much focused on ourselves and where we've got to improve, that we don't have the time or the energy to worry about other people. And interestingly enough, if you dwell on other people's faults, then you get them. Like the little caterpillar that was trapped by a wasp, and it was wrapped up inside a cocoon, and the caterpillar was so afraid of the wasp that eventually it became a wasp. So when the cocoon opened, the wasp flew out. So if you just become so absorbed in other people's faults, then you start to develop those faults yourself. If you're meditating on your spiritual master and you're following his instructions, you can do this thing where you cherry pick. You just pick the instructions that you want, and you just do the services that you want. Oh no, I don't do that. Sorry, that's not me. There's I, me, and mine. The I is the body, and mine is what belongs to the body. And the me is, oh no, sorry, I don't do that. Oh, can you go and peel the potatoes? Peel potatoes. Sorry, that's not me. Potato peeler. I'm a big devotee preacher. I'm a manjari, really. So I don't do potato peeling. That's not me. So then there's all these preconditions. It's supposed to be unconditional, and the precondition, you have your schedule, what you're going to do. Oh, something's just happened. You're going to have to do. Oh no, sorry, that's not on the schedule. I can't accommodate that. Unconditional, uninterrupted. It's uninterrupted if it's unmotivated. If it's motivated, then it becomes interrupted. Because motivated is, I need this facility, I need this type of recognition, I demand this, I demand that. If I don't get it, then tools go down and the toys go off the pram. Sorry, I'm not playing. So that's the neophyte stage, where the devotee is unsteady. And the reason why the unsteadiness is there is because there's so many agendas and motivations and preferences. And then sometimes I remember it's the same philosophy, isn't it, Jainanda? It's the same philosophy. I remember this was years ago, back in the 80s. Boo, don't burn out, don't burn yourself out. You've got to find your level. So the funny thing about the level is it's always less than what you're doing. When you're finding your level is never going higher. So it's going lower. And then when you're on that level after a while, I don't think it is really my level. I think I have to find my level. And then eventually the level goes right down till it's on the floor, and then you just walk out the door. So the idea is you want your level to go higher. You want to try and upgrade. If you were performing service like this last year, this year you're going to do it more enthusiastically, and you're going to try and do more things as well, things that you don't like to do. That's how you know it's for Krishna. Like when you're chanting sometimes, it's not so nice to chant. It's very difficult to chant. So sometimes Krishna's like, okay, no taste for you this morning. Are you going to do it for me? Or are you only doing it for yourself? You only do it when you're enjoying it. And if you're not enjoying it, then you don't care. Ahetiki apatiyata. Savaipum samparo damo yato bhakti adhoksaja. Ahetiki apatiyata yatma suprasidati. If you want the soul to be satisfied, then that means you've got to give up the mental platform. What do you think, Chainanda? Ahetiki means unmotivated and uninterrupted. So if it's unmotivated, then it can be uninterrupted. But if there's a motivation there, then the motivation will interrupt the service. So if we're rendering a very high caliber of devotional service, then we'll experience ruchi. And then whatever it is we're doing, we'll relish it, because we'll see it's in connection to Krishna. In the spiritual world, when all the boys are playing with Krishna, and they go off to herd the cows, you don't get some of them saying, I'm not into herding cows. They just go along with whatever the program is, Then they're walking into a demon, and Krishna saves them, and they all die because they drank the water from Kaliya, and then they're in so much anxiety. And then, Mother Yashoda's in so much anxiety. She practically died when Kaliya took Krishna under the water. He was under the water for like 3 or 4 hours. And she was in so much anxiety, she almost died. And then Krishna realized, I better come up quick, or they're all going to die. So that's intense, isn't it? I mean, whatever we have to come across. Yesterday was a bit intense for me, but I wasn't at the point of dying, It's just a bit annoying. That's about as bad as it got. Oh, I want to go to the planet where Krishna's performing his pastimes next life. Yay! I'll be there for a picnic. Well, you're going to be in so much anxiety, you'll practically leave your body. Oh, I don't fancy that. And I just go to the heavenly planets now. Any other questions or comments? Jainan's got half a one. Half a question is better than none. Yeah, it's pleasurable as well. Yeah, well, that's the thing. We at the time we don't like. I remember I was in Oban years ago and it was raining, but at that time they had pound notes, and I was soaked to the skin because it was on the coast. So when it rained in coastal towns, when it rains all day usually, and it was cold as well. So I was trying to get these notes, off people and put them in a can. We had collecting cans, and it was like really austere because my hands had gone so cold I couldn't move the fingers properly. I was trying to get them in, and then they were all in my pockets as well. And it was really inconvenient and really annoying. I was experiencing a lot of discomfort from trying to do it as well. I was wet through, my feet were soaking, I was cold, the books were getting wet, they were getting soggy, everything was soggy and it was miserable, So it didn't seem like a good time at the time. But when I look back on it, I'm very happy that I did it. I'm very happy that I went through it. It's like, great, I did that, So sometimes the difficulty is we experience an acquired taste, and at the time we may not appreciate them. But then later on we realize how it was really useful that I did that I went through that. So it's how to acquire that taste and appreciate it. This is actually transcendental pleasure, although it doesn't seem like it. But when you reflect back on it, I remember one devotee wrote an offering to Srila Prabhupada. He said, the only times I regret are the times I didn't surrender. If you look back and you woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning and the building was on fire and you had to throw water on it for 8 hours, and you could have just said, oh, I've had enough, I'm going back, but you stay because you don't want to see the place burn down. And you do it, and then afterward you're really glad that you surrendered and did that. But at the time it would be easier not to. But when you look back, especially when you're dying, you'll look back at all the times you didn't surrender, and you'll be like, I missed an opportunity there, And all the times you did surrender, you won't look back on that. Like you did a Christmas marathon and you were doing 3 24-hour days. They had a few days in Wales where the devotees were collecting a lot of Lakshmi. And they were going like practically all out. And so when they look back on that, they won't regret it. They'll be so happy that they did it. So that's why you have to be a little bit patient in Krishna consciousness. You've got to be enthusiastic. You've got to endeavor with confidence. And then you've got to be patient. And patience means you may not be getting what you want out of this situation, but that's okay, as long as Krishna's happy. And if Krishna's happy, then everyone's happy. And we're living in the Dham because the deities are being worshipped nicely. And when the deities are worshipped nicely, they manifest the Dham. So we are in Navadvip Dham because our lordships are being worshipped nicely. Standards are good. Our GBC for deity worship is happy with us. So Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda very kindly come from San Francisco to be in Lesmahago, which is quite a surrender. If I had a choice, San Francisco or Lesmahago, it's a tough one. So for some reason they've come, they've earmarked us, they want us to serve them. And we have to be careful that they never don't want us to serve them, because then we won't find ourselves in service, and we won't find ourselves here. So the Dham is here, and if the puja recedes, then the Dham recedes. The standards go down, and they're not being worshipped so nicely. You can go to some temples, Hindu temples, and the deities are not being worshipped to such a good standard. So then the same spiritual atmosphere is not there. So if we focus on doing everything for the... and we're very fortunate that we have Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, because Radha and Krishna, it's a high standard to come to. You have to be spontaneous, Raganuga, which means at least the stage of Ruchi or Sakti, to worship them properly. But Gauranitai, they're coming for the most fallen. Our qualification is our disqualification. So if we remember that by their mercy, they're being very kind to us and they're engaging us in service. So we should always be appreciative of that. And be patient to acquire the taste. And acquired taste means you have to be patient. It's not going to just pop up from nowhere, You have to be consistently enthusiastic and confident over a prolonged period of time, and then everything will happen. You can't force. Well, sometimes they do force ripe things. They get these nectarines. They pick them when they're unripe. They keep them frosted in cold storage. Then they bring them out and gas them and try and force ripe them. But they're always weird, They're rock hard. And as soon as they go soft, they've rotted inside. So you can't force ripen yourself. You have to just be patient, let the process take place, and then in due course of time it will happen. And you will see your tendency to want to find faults will reduce, and you'll be more inclined to want to appreciate and encourage a devotee. Because finding faults always means there's going to have to be a punishment. You did this wrong, and that's wrong, therefore I'm afraid we're going to have to bring the cricket bat out. Sorry. Not a good idea with devotees. That's what Yamaduta does. He judges someone, and then the Yamaraj tells them to punish them in this way. I remember one time we were trying to do books, straight books, because we do the board, and Balabhadra Prabhu wanted us to learn to do straight books. So the last hour, 5:30 to 6:30 on Sankirtan, we had a set of Bhagavatams. We had to try and sell them. They're these LA Bhagavatams. We had to get £25, I think, for each of them, which was really high in those days, And I always remember this nurse came down Union Street with her friend, and I hit her up for a smaller book, and she goes, "Oh, do you know, I have these terrible dreams, and there's these guys, really grotesque guys, and they've got dogs with them, and they take me up this mountain and they throw me off, and as if that wasn't bad enough, when I land, I don't die, and they come back down for me, and they take me up again to throw me off again, And I said, hold on a second. I went over to the fifth canto, and I opened up and I showed her the Yamadutas, and I said, do they look like this? She goes, how much is the book? So if you fault find, then automatically there needs to be some punishment, that this person doesn't deserve to be here, this person should be hung, drawn, and quartered, whatever it is, And that's what Yamadutas do. They take people that have been that have lots of faults, and then they have a consequent reformatory process, and after that intense pain, then the living entity is reformed to some degree. So the next time that they see a situation where there's intoxication or illicit sex, immediately, although they don't consciously know what it is, they just freeze. Uh-oh, this is going to be bad. So that's the hard way to learn. That's the school of hard knocks. And the best way is to hear, is by hearing. Any other questions or comments? How do we remain inspired? We remain inspired by connecting to the holy name. The holy name is the main source of inspiration. Everything else we're doing, deity worship, book distribution, cooking, cleaning, everything is to bring us to the point of experiencing a taste, some rati, some bhav, when we're chanting. And then that's very inspiring, because you realize that Krishna is pleased with you. When you're chanting nicely, then immediately you feel Krishna is pleased with you, and that you're valued and recognized, and you want to reciprocate with that. So it's very inspiring. You could think you're inspired, but it may just be that you're getting some material facility or sense gratification, and that's pleasing you right now. but that's not the same as being inspired. Being inspired is quite a deep thing, actually. And it may be that when we first take up the process of Krishna consciousness, we're inspired, but don't take it for granted that you're just going to stay inspired. You have to work at being inspired. You have to be proactive, like Rupa Goswami is saying, being enthusiastic. So if you tell someone to be enthusiastic, then that kind of implies that our default is not to be enthusiastic. So if you don't push to proactively be enthusiastic, then you will be unenthusiastic. There's a nice word, actually, in the 10th canto. It's considered the essence. You know what the essence is, Jayananda Prabhu, of all our philosophy? It's referred to in the 10th canto. The one verse that encapsulates the entire philosophy of Krishna consciousness. It's Tatena Kampam Shishukshimano. My dear Lord, one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds and offering you respectful obeisances with his heart, words, and body, is surely eligible for liberation because it's become his rightful claim. And the word earnest is an interesting word. Earnest is really a person to be inspired, he has to be earnest. So the word earnest means serious in mind or intention, characterized by sincerity of intention, demanding or receiving serious attention. And then the thesaurus, serious, close, constant, determined, fixed, firm, grave, intent, resolute, resolved, sincere, solemn, stable, staid, steady, thoughtful, heartfelt, ablaze, ardent, devoted, eager, enthusiastic, fervent, fervid, impassioned, keen as mustard, passionate, purposeful, urgent, vehement, warm, zealous, awake. These are all the things that an earnest person is. And then the autonyms, flippant, frivolous, insincere, trifling, apathetic, couldn't care less, half-hearted, unconcerned, unenthusiastic, uninterested. So that's the default. That's what you are if you don't do anything. If you just relax and let the material energy take you down the river of material life and just float along on the mental platform. Leave me alone. Don't say anything to me. Stop waking me up. Just leave me. That's what it is. And then the proactive opposite is being all these things, being very devotional, and inspired and enthusiastic. We can be inspired by the taste we're getting. We can be inspired by what we've been hearing, what we've been reading. We can be inspired by the holy name. Because when you come in contact with the pure holy name, then it's a very exhilarating experience, you know. If you experience ecstasy, where you get goosebumps on your arms and the hair stands on end and tears, you ever experienced that? Tears come to your eyes. So that's pretty inspiring. But usually that comes after a lot of hard work, you know. If you're in a kirtan for 6 hours, or you're chanting 192 rounds, or doing something really exceptional that pushes you beyond just the normal drudgery, then it's like, wow, you know. So it doesn't come without effort. You have to work hard, make endeavor. Be focused on the sadhya, the goal. If you're focused on the goal, they say that the obstacles are things that you see when you lose sight of the goal. So if there's no goal, then you just see, like, you know, when they're running, they go over the hurdles. You mentioned if the person wasn't really wanting to do it that day, he comes up and, here's the first hurdle. This is a total trip. And then he gets over it and, there's another hurdle there as well. And he goes over it, you know, and it's going to take him ages. That's a prolonging the agony. Somebody else is running, and they're just like sprinting, and they don't even practically see the headless. They're just like, they're just looking at the finish line. So to stay inspired, you have to stay focused on the goal, on the sadhya. Once you know what the goal is, sometimes you may think the goal looks really far, Like, if you go on a race course and you have to go over these hedges, they jump over them, right? So the first one is up at 4 o'clock. Oh, okay, managed it. Follow 4 regs. Okay. 16 rounds. Okay. And then you're waiting for the next hedge, 4 o'clock in the morning. And as you're running along on the horse, you see this mountain, and the horse has a heart attack. And it's trying to go around the other way, and you go, no, boy, go, keep going. And you go over the next hedge. And as you get closer to the mountain, you realize it's actually just a painting on canvas. It's not a mountain at all. And you just go clean through it. And then there's the other hedge, and then the 4 hedges, and then the 16 rounds, and then 4 o'clock in the morning, 4 eggs, 16. Oh, there's another mountain. And you think, well, the last one I went clean through it, so I think I'll just keep going with the 4 eggs and the 16 rounds. And then you go clean through it. So it's how to become experienced and stay focused on the goal, even when Maya presents something which seems impossible. Because it's not impossible to go over the hedge, the little hedges. So you think, okay, well, I'll keep doing this. It's like they say, don't let what you can't do stop you from doing what you can do. And if you keep doing what you can do, eventually you'll be able to do what you can't do. So just keep doing whatever you can do. Otherwise, you're doing something, you're not doing it very well, and someone comes up and says, that is useless. You better just forget it. And see that bin over there? Well, throw your bead bag in it on the way out, because you're useless. But no, you keep doing what you can do. May take you some time, may take you some lifetimes. And if you try your entire lifetime, then Srila Prabhupada has promised, then 1 lifetime will be enough. Although it would normally take a few lifetimes. Any last questions or comments? Yes, Rainus Brahmachari. Prabhu. Can you share them? Well, they say when one time Srila Prabhupada was singing Jai Radha Madhava, and he went into trance, and everybody that was in the temple room with Srila Prabhupada, everyone was silent, and they all went into Vrindavan together. They all experienced the same ecstasy. As the prema bhakta, the prema can splash out and splash onto people that are near him, Prema bhakti yahoti avijava nasayati. So he gives the prema and he destroys the ignorance. Just by being in the association of the pure devotee, some of that prema. Especially if he goes into an ecstatic trance then. And one time the devotees were, it was Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's disappearance day. And Srila Prabhupada had made simple kitri to offer to his Guru Maharaj. And all the devotees were clamoring and they were all chatting away. And they all got a dollop of kitri and they were all, you should have seen what happened to me yesterday. And all like that, And then as they're eating it, everyone suddenly goes very quiet. And they're just focused on this kitri, which is full of Srila Prabhupada's love for his Guru Maharaj, And everyone goes silent. And they're just eating it. And then as they finish, none of them say anything. And they all just start going towards the pot where the rest of the kitri is. So by eating the prasad that's been made by the pure devotee, drinking the water that's bathed the pure devotee's feet, these are all ways that we can be infected by this prema, this pure love. Yeah. And Prabhupada says in Nectar of Instruction, that's the real give and take principle. That's the real charity, is you give somebody your taste for the holy name. They experience it as well. They're elevated up onto that platform. Maybe only temporarily, but at least for a little while they can taste and appreciate that holy name is non-different, and all the guna, rupa, lila, guna, rupa, nam, all the different aspects of the holy name, they all become manifest. Sparat yada, swayameva sparat yada. Sparat is manifest, swayam means personality, yada means everything to do with Krishna. It all manifests in the heart. Swayameva sparat yada. Sevan mukhi hi jivado. Mukhi is the face. If you turn the face towards service to Krishna, then swayameva sparat yada. Everything will manifest in the heart. You have to turn the mukhi towards seva, to serving. Not you doing this so you'll look good, you doing this so that you can then criticize somebody, you doing this so that then you can get your security and you can get your facility. No, you doing this for Krishna. There's nothing in it for you. It's just for Krishna. Then swayameva sparat yada, he'll manifest. All his pastimes, everything will come into the heart. ISKCON Govinda ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaura Premanande, Hari Bol.